Hi all, welcome to our channel Graduate, the place where you find interesting lectures in psychology. Today, we are going to discuss a beautiful topic in motivation and learning. Before that, let me ask you a question. Your friends might have asked you, "Hey man, why are you getting so aroused?" So, what actually is arousal? Is it an emotional aspect or something psychological or physiological? Let me tell you. When you are singing, when you are dancing, when you are thinking about a solution for a problem, you're aroused. And in the everyday life, in different aspects, you are getting aroused. So, today, our topic is the concept of arousal. Myself, Alvin Paul Elias. And today in the section, these are the topic that we are going to discuss: arousal and primary systems, reticular activation system, ascending reticular activating system, autonomic nervous system, arousal and affect, arousal and performance, arousal and attention. Moving to the definition of arousal. Arousal is the activation of brain and body. It is a state of readiness where we are ready to engage in adaptive behavior. So, in arousal, in a state of arousal, our brain and body will be activated. And also remember, it is a state of readiness. So if a person is in arousal, which means that that person is in a state of readiness to engage in an adaptive behavior. So how to identify a person, whether he is aroused or not, is that when a person is aroused, there will be increase in electrical activity in the brain, heartbeat and muscle tone. So why there is an increase in heartbeat and muscle tone is that when a person is aroused, blood flow is redirected towards brain and muscles. That is the reason why there is an increase in heartbeat and muscle tone. And when we are aroused, our body make use of the chemicals stored in various parts of. So these are the state, or these are the conditions, or these are the characteristics of a person who is aroused. For arousal or arousal systems, there are two primary systems. First one is a cortical system. The second one is an autonomic nervous system. Even though they have the same function, they function independently. That is, they function independently, and this cortical arousal system is induced by the subcortical centers in the brain. So the subcortical centers in the brain are responsible for our cortical arousal. Now we are going to discuss, we categorize some activities, and we are going to check whether which arousal system is getting activated in those activities. In physical activities, there will be autonomic arousal and no cortical arousal. In intellectual activities, there will be cortical arousal and no autonomic arousal. And in activities like battle, theatre performance, sports, etc., where our brain and body should simultaneously function, there will be cortical arousal and autonomic arousal. And please remember the point: to reduce wear and tear and conserve energy, these systems, the cortical arousal and autonomic arousal systems, are only activated when needed. Now we are moving to another topic, the reticular activating system. This system is mainly responsible for the cortical arousal. We all know that our sensory receptors are connected to the sensory areas in the cortex through afferent nerves. And these afferent nerves or afferent nerve pathway ascends to the cortex through a specific projection system. Fibers branching from these pathways ascend to the reticular formation. Let me show you the picture. See, in this picture, you can see these are the reticular activating system, this blue colored. See, it is marked here. This is the reticular activating system. And we will discuss that later. This reticular activating system has an ascending tract and a descending tract. in relation to the concept of arousal, the ascending reticular activating system plays a key role. So now let me discuss about that. The ascending reticular activating system is a part of the brainstem, and it has the main function of maintaining wakefulness and alertness. And this is a picture of reticular activating system, and let me show you. This is the same picture, and this is the ascending reticular activating system. It starts from the area near to the pons and the midbrain. So the ascending reticular activating system starts from the area adjacent to the pons and the midbrain, and it moves forward into branches, and these branches are called ascending reticular activating system. We will discuss the anatomy in later. The current studies shows that our ascending reticular activating system has two subsystems. The first system plays as a relay system, which is responsible for thalamo-cortical connection of sensory information. So, and the other one, the second system, projects to the lateral hypothalamus, the basal forebrain, and the cerebral cortex. So these are the two subsystems of ascending reticular activating system. The first system that is responsible for thalamo-cortical connections, and the second system that projects to lateral hypothalamus, basal forebrain, and the cerebral cortex. These are the two subsystems of ascending reticular activating system, and this is a basic anatomy of ascending reticular activating system. And this ascending reticular activating system responds to the stimulation from sensory information by activating the brain. So we have mentioned that our the two subsystems of ascending reticular activating systems are linked to the cortex, isn't it? So why the ascending reticular activating system has something to play, or has a role in cortex, is that when an information comes into your brain, when a stimulus comes into your brain, our cortex need to be activated for the processing and the recognition of that stimulus. So if our cortex is not activated, or is not in a state of arousal, or if a cortex is not aroused, the senses or the signals that comes to the cortex will not be recognized or processed. So for the processing of our stimulus coming from the external environment to the brain, our cortex needs to be optimally aroused. And the ascending reticular activating system maintains wakefulness by sending continuous tonic barrage of impulses to the cortex during the waking hours. And please remember this interesting point. Signal in any one modality can activate this system. Any one modality means it can be from visual, can be auditory, can be tactile. So any modality, any signal from any modality can activate this ascending reticular activating system. And this is another point. The activities of the ascending reticular pathways centered in the hypothalamus interact with the ventrolateral preoptic nucleus to affect the sleep-wake states. This question or this concept is being asked in the UGC NET exams at the point VLPO. See, this point, the function or the role of ascending reticular activating system and VLPO. So this ventrolateral preoptic nucleus is being interacted by the ascending reticular activating system, thus maintaining sleep and wake states. So please remember the VLPO or the ventrolateral preoptic nucleus is related to the sleep-wake states. And we have discussed the theory concept that ascending reticular activating system maintain arousal and so on. How it happens, how it occurs. Here we go. The signals comes to the thalamus. The sensory signals that are being received by the thalamus are sent to the ascending reticular activating system, and ascending reticular activating system then send this signal to the frontal cortex, and this frontal cortex just got alert and maintains alertness. Let me tell you again. The sensory receptors that receives the stimulus sends that signals to the thalamus, and the thalamus then send this signal to the ascending reticular activating system. Then this ascending reticular activating system sends signals to the cortex, and the prefrontal cortex gets aroused or get alert by this signal, and thus it is maintained. Please remember, during deep anesthesia, the ascending reticular activating system and its electrocortical activating roles are abolished or reduced. And I have earlier mentioned that a reticular activating system has two tracts. First one is the ascending reticular activating system, and the second one is a descending tract. And descending tract influences in the motor function, and it is responsible for the improvement in speed and coordination of reactions under high level of arousal. So what are the benefits of getting aroused? So we have discussed the theory concept, we have discussed how we get aroused, and so what is the benefit of getting aroused? If we are in a state of readiness, we will be able to process information much better. We will be able to identify the features in the environment and integrate it with the memories or schematas. Then we will be also able to get ready for responses that are accurate and rapid. Got it? These are the 3 points to be remembered. What are the result of getting in a state of aroused? Yeah. From the electroencephalograms, it is found that as a particular brain structure becomes active, the wave height, that is the amplitude, decreases and the frequency increases. Frequency is the number of peaks per seconds. These all happen, the frequency increases and the amplitude decreases of the brain wave. Okay, please bring your attention to this picture. When you are aroused or in a state of excitement, see, the amplitude of the brain wave is very low, but its frequency is much high. That means, see, waves per second. How many waves are there per second? But how its frequency, its amplitude is very low. And when we're in a deep sleep, what happens is that the frequency, when the graph moves down, so when you move down, see that the frequency decreases, number of waves per second decreases, but the amplitude increases. So please remember, while moving from alertness to deep sleep or dizziness or that relaxed mood, what happens is that the frequency of your brain wave decreases and the amplitude increases. When a particular brain area is activated, the brain wave will show that increase in amplitude and increase in frequency and decrease in amplitude. Please remember, this is a study by Zemizeki in 1992. He used PET, that is positron emission tomography, to explore various areas of brain that gets activated when exposed to various forms of visual stimulus. And he found that different brain regions become active for different dimensions of visual stimulus. Brain tend to break the images into the component parts. So when a brain processes its stimulus, it is found that brain breaks the images into the components part and process it much better. Other studies found that prefrontal cortex play a major role in detecting signals. So if in any questions or anywhere you found in MCQs, you may find that which brain area plays a significant role in detecting signals. That is the prefrontal cortex. The frontal cortex is also getting aroused in ascending reticular activating system. Now we are moving to the second part, the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system has a key role in keeping arousal. How it is happened? It happens like the autonomic nervous system activates the adrenal medulla, and this adrenal medulla secretes epinephrine and non-epinephrine. Thus, our reticular activating system is activated. So our autonomic nervous system, adrenal medulla, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and activation of reticular activating system. Please remember this flowchart for easy recalling. And in ascending reticular activating system activity is associated with general arousal, which mediates sensory threshold, muscle tones, and other responses. Now we are moving to arousal and affect. Affect means emotion. How our emotional states and arousal are interlinked. Arousal and affect are described by inverted U-shaped function, and there is a theory. This theory is called optimal stimulation theory of arousal. Here we go with the graph. Please bring your attention to this graph. Okay, in the x-axis we can see the level of stimulation. In the y-axis, this is a harmonic tone which is equal to the emotion or the affect. See, when our level of stimulation is very low or it is in very high, our emotion will be negative. Got it? When our level of stimulation is low or high, our emotional response or our affect will be negative. Then please bring attention to this population average graph. In this graph, when our level of stimulation is in median level or the optimal level, our emotion or the affect will be positive. So this inverted U-shaped graph explains that when our emotion, when our stimulation, when our level of stimulation or when our arousal is in an optimal state, we will experience positive emotion, and when the level of stimulation or the arousal is in a low or high state, we will experience negative emotion. Motivation to explore, process information, and master environment is assumed to be governed by a preference for moderate level of arousal. And please remember this point. High level of cortical arousal is highly pleasurable. That thinking or problem solving is some sort of pleasurable for some people. But for shorter periods, high level of autonomic arousal can be quite pleasurable, but when the time increases, it becomes negative, or you can feel some sort of disturbances. Now we are moving to arousal and performance. Donald Hebb proposed an inverted U-shaped function to describe the relationship between arousal and performance. It is also known as Yerkes-Dodson principles. Okay, please bring your attention to this beautiful graph. The x-axis is denoted by level of arousal, whereas the y-axis is denoted by the behavioral efficiency or the performance. Here, the level of arousal is low and the level of arousal is high. This point, level of arousal low, this point, level of arousal high. At this point, in the y-axis, the behavioral efficiency is low. So, at the point where your level of arousal is low or the level of arousal is high, your behavior efficiency will be low. So, when the behavior efficiency will get high? Here, in this U-shaped form, bring your attention here, this point. This is called as the optimal level of arousal. At the optimal level of arousal, your behavior efficiency will be high. So that's what the theory says. So you can perform very well when your level of arousal is in an optimal state. Here, this is the graph showing deep sleep and the point of waking. At the point of waking, your behavior efficiency will be low. As the level of arousal increases, there will be increase in alertness, there will be interest and positive emotion, and when it reaches the optimal level, we will be performing very efficiently. And when it moves down, see what happens? There will be increase in emotional arousal, disturbance, anxiety. When the level of arousal is continuously here, moving to right side, the level of arousal is increasing. As the level of arousal increases, our behavior efficiency decreases, and you may experience emotional disturbance and anxiety. So always remember, for better performance, you need an optimal level of arousal. Now moving to level of arousal and attention. Yeah, according to Eastern Books theory, at low level of arousal, your attention will be broad. That means you will attend to many things and you will process a lot of information. That is, your processing will be inclusive. So at low level of arousal, your attention will be what? Broad and inclusive. That means you'll attend to so many things and you process so many things. But when your level of arousal is high, you'll only attend to a few things. That means your attention is very narrow and it is exclusive. That is, you only process specific things. We ignore everything but related to survival stimulus may be processed. We call this type of attention a particular term. Do you remember? That's high level of arousal, our attention will be selective, specific, narrow. What is called? It's called the selective attention. That is, at high level of arousal, we perform or we practice selective attention. Arousal governs attention and information processing. Arousal directs attention. So this is what we deal with arousal. Always remember, at optimal level of arousal, your performance efficiency will be high, your attention will be high, and you will experience positive emotions. These are the references: the Coffer and Affley Motivation, Theory and Research, Robert E. Franklin, Human Motivation, 4th edition. I got these books from the Department of Psychology, University of Kerala, and I'm really thankful for the department for providing these books for me. These are very old books and rare copies are only available. I have referred these books for you guys and the note is prepared. I hope you all enjoyed this video and got much information about arousal and other aspects of getting aroused, autonomic nervous system, the arousal and performance, arousal and attention, arousal and affect. I think you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Thank you, really thank you. This is a Psy graduate. Please subscribe this channel and put on the notification button. And if you feel that this video is worth to be shared, please like and share. And why you want to share this video? Why? What is the reason for sharing this type of information is that let the knowledge spread. Let everyone get aware of psychological aspects. Thank you. Thank you so much.